And welcome back to The Watchman from TBN's Jerusalem studio. Well, when it comes to Israeli archaeology, Dr. Gabriel Barkai is a legend. Right now, he's in charge of the Temple Mount Sifting Project, and over the past few years, he has made some amazing discoveries that prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Temple Mount, yes, was once home to Solomon's Temple, to Herod's Temple, and much more when it comes to Israel and the Jewish people. Take a look.
Now, the present day of the shape of the Temple Mount was given to it, the general framework around the Temple Mount was given to it by King Herod the Great some 2,000 years ago. That is, according to tradition, the place of the binding of Isaac. That is the place of the threshing floor of Aravna the Jebusite purchased by King David. That is the place where his son Solomon built the house of the Lord. And that is the place of the second temple built by the returnees to Zion from the Babylonian captivity. The Temple Mount is the soul, heart, and spirit of the Jewish people.
Now, Dr. Barkai, just to give the viewer an idea of how important the Temple Mount is, the Jewish people believe that God's presence literally dwelled on the Temple Mount, right?
And never left it. The idea of belief in one God, one dynasty, the House of David, and those two residing in one place, Jerusalem, that is one of the essential points of the days of Prophet Isaiah. And it started then with the house of the Lord being the only possible place where God can be worshipped. In 691 of the Common Era, a most magnificent building was erected upon the Temple Mount. That is the Dome of the Rock, which was meant to be a replacement of Solomon's temple. His son, Al-Walid, built a mosque next to it, the Al-Aqsa Mosque. This situation of the Dome of the Rock and Al-Aqsa Mosque, which lasted for centuries upon the Temple Mount, was breached in the 1990s. This enormous white area here is the roof over the great mosque, the Subterranean Mosque, which was added in the 1990s. 2 years later, in 1998, yet another mosque was built underneath the Al-Aqsa Mosque in a passageway, subterranean passageway, which led the pilgrims up towards the temple in some 2,000 years ago. That is today known as the Mosque of the Ancient Aqsa. Together with these construction works, that we have already 4 edifices of the Muslims upon the Temple Mount, there was a change of the ideology. Instead of the noble sanctuary, the name Muslims used for the Temple Mount, they began to use the name Al-Aqsa for the entire Temple Mount and not only for the mosque. Simultaneously, they began to spread the idea of the temple denial. There was no temple, neither of Solomon nor Second Temple. There was no temple in Jerusalem ever. 400 truckloads of soil saturated with the history of Jerusalem were removed from the Temple Mount and dumped into the Kidron Valley. You can see here the dumps at the Kidron Valley.
And tell our viewers again, Doctor, who did this?
It was carried out by the Islamic Waqf, the trust that runs daily matters upon the Temple Mount.
Yeah.
Now,
with no authorization to do so. They took it upon themselves to, basically an attempt to bury the Jewish history of the Temple Mount.
2 of my students those days, they followed the trucks and found the place where the dumping took place. And they urged me to start a project for sifting. I got the approval of the university authorities, who asked the Antiquities Authority for a permission. After long bureaucracy and after long deliberations, we got the permission. And so about 11 and a half years ago, we started this project. We have had until now approximately 250,000 volunteers who carry out the work of the sifting. They follow in the footsteps of the Book of Psalms, saying that thy servants have cherished thy stones and loved thy earth. To see the excitement in the eyes of kids touching the holy soil of the Temple Mount and finding a coin which didn't see light for 2,000 years, it is really touching.